Hi, I'm Sharon Jennings. I'm a Canadian author, and I've written over 70 books for kids, and I'm very proud to say I read Canadian. And I've been reading Canadian ever since I was a little girl. I love books, love stories, so of course I wanted to start writing my own. And if any of you watching this like writing or think you might want to be a writer when you grow up, I had my professional debut in grade 4. I wrote a play and it was produced for the school assembly, and it was called How Puffytail Found Easter. And How Puffytail Found Easter is the furthest thing you can get from this book, The Warning, which is horror for children. And this is how it came about. I was asked by Owl Magazine to write a story for them, and I submitted it, and they said, Sharon, this is too scary for our readers. So I said, okay. So I wrote a second story, and they said, Sharon, this is even scarier than your first story. So finally, eventually, I wrote something that they liked, but I sent the 2 stories along to Paul Kropp. He's the publisher of Hip Books, and he had published 8 novels of mine for The Reluctant Reader. So I said, would you read these? He said, no, we don't publish short stories for boys. And I said, oh, please just read them. And he said, fine. So then he sent me an email that said, we need 4 more for a book. So this is the good news. I had a contract, but I then had to come up with 4 more stories about teenage boys getting into trouble. And by trouble, I mean disappearing and dying. So I'd never written horror before. I always wrote picture books for children, and I had a lot of fun coming up with the logic of a horror story. And why would anybody want to spend the night in a cemetery on Halloween? And in order to find out, you will have to read The Warning.